The Sith is the ultimate evil in Star Wars. The villains that clash against our heroes to either destroy them or face their own demise. Characters such as Palpatine, Maul and Vader are integral to the universe far, far away, serving as counterparts, bringing out either the worst or best in every character they meet. Still, I can't help but feel that something is holding them back. Essentially that we keep seeing the same old story over and over again. Let me explain. Peace is a lie, there is only passion. Through passion I gain strength, through strength I gain power, through power I gain victory, through victory my chains are broken, the Force shall free me. This is the code of the Sith, considered as the dark side copy of the Jedi code referred to in the prequel trilogy.
The code forbids it.
In theory, it's a very simple philosophy with the focus on tapping into your inner feelings and resolve to achieve, as they put it, victory. Ultimately, it's about gaining as much power as possible to become the one everyone fears. It's this constant pursuit of dominance and authority that drives them, that makes every Sith commit these ruthless acts without hesitation. From the outside, the Sith way of life can seem shallow, even for a villain. It's all about power, which like a drug gradually takes over you. But my question is if there's anything more to it than that. Some underlying motivations that we just don't understand. If we examine some other villains, like for example Thanos in the MCU, there is a clear purpose behind his actions. Even though his methods are horrifying, you can in a twisted way understand his reasoning. That more beings could thrive in a world with half its population. I'm not saying that he is correct in the matter, rather far from it, but his goals goes beyond just quote-unquote taking over the universe. They are complex and from one perspective actually selfless, something that goes against the entire philosophy of the Sith. It also helps that Thanos is portrayed as the protagonist in Infinity War, which allows us to see events from his perspective and gain a deeper understanding of his desires. With the Sith, we rarely get this kind of insight in different shows, rather from books like the Darth Bane trilogy, where we get to follow how this powerful Force being operates and how he resurrects their rule of two.
I created a legacy so resilient that now you come before me.
This is why episodes of the Clone Wars that focuses on the Sith are often considered some of the best, because they offer a rare glimpse into the minds of this organization, adding depth to characters that are usually seen as pretty one-dimensional. Yet it often feels like any deeper purpose with the Sith characters is usually on a smaller, more personal scale, tied to specific relationships or events. For instance, Darth Maul's obsession with Kenobi or Kylo Ren's struggle with his past, not to talk about Anakin and his toxic love for Padme. It makes them interesting, but it doesn't always give them the same expansive sense of purpose or complexity, because the end goal is always the same. The Sith either falls into the trap of being consumed by their own greed, or they eventually turn away from that path entirely, like Ventress. It's in these moments the dark side characters become truly fascinating to me, when they start to experience inner conflict and begin to question their choices. I'm not suggesting that every Sith should turn good, but when a character's journey involves wrestling with their beliefs and breaking free from, in this case, the rigid Sith code, it creates a more engaging and dynamic story. It's in these moments of doubt and introspection that they become more than just villains. They become relatable characters.
You're too good for us now. Is that it?
No. Once I was just like you. But I'm not that person anymore. Now, I have a future.
One of the only villains in Star Wars that I view as having a great and meaningful purpose is Thrawn. That's why he feels different, because his motivations are not driven by himself, rather the people he represents. He plays mind games with everyone. You never know exactly where he stands in different situations, yet you do know that he views the threat of the Outer Rim as his #1 priority. In the eyes of the Empire and the Rebels, he might be seen as a power-mongering evil general, but it's a facade that in reality depicts something very different. Yet he is not a Sith, and maybe that's what allows him to shine. In more recent content like The Acolyte, it feels like the Sith tries to get portrayed from a more acceptable point of view, exploring the dark side as an option worth considering. But in my opinion, it just doesn't work.
You murdered my friends.
I killed Jedi. I killed those who threatened my existence.
There is no way that you can argue for killing people, making them suffer, all for the purpose of making you as a person stronger. That's something the show totally failed at exploring, because it was unrealistic. And the fairy tale ending with the two murderers holding hands and walking into the sunset like they have done something extraordinary might be one of the most hypocritical resolutions I have ever seen.
Obviously, the Sith are always unhappy, because they never get enough of anything they want. Mostly their selfishness centers around power and control. And the struggle is always to be able to let go of all that stuff.
The purpose of these villains in the end is to challenge the heroes and reveal whether they've completed their journey or still have more to learn. George Lucas' message with the Sith is that they are flawed beings, driven by selfishness, making their way of life unfit for everyday people. They embody the specific contrast of being evil, representing the struggle between selfless and selfish thoughts, something every person faces. And maybe that's all they need to be, a reflection of the darker impulses we all have. Perhaps that's the only essential role needed to understand of the Sith, to demonstrate what happens when one allows ambition and greed to overshadow compassion and meaning. In this way, they remind us that everyone harbors both light and dark aspects within themselves, and it's our choices that determine which side prevails. If you like this video and want to see more, click on this one. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you will have a great day.